What's up guys, this is Coach Donnie with ElevateYourself.org. This is the second part of how to block as an outside hitter or left wing spiker. If you haven't seen part 1, make sure that you click on the video link up here because much of the information and techniques that I'll be covering in this video will be based on the information that is already in part 1. In this video, I'll be talking about 3 aspects of how to block as an outside hitter. The first one is how to deal with a front row setter. The second aspect is your body positioning relative to the hitter. The third aspect is what to do with your arms and hands when you're in the air. In order to effectively deal with a front row setter, you need to identify where the setter is before the ball is served. You do not want to be caught by surprise when the setter jumps up and dumps it and you weren't sure whether the setter was front row or back row. Once you've identified whether the setter is front row or back row, you can modify your starting position to adjust to a front row setter or a back row setter. When the setter is back row, you know you don't have to worry about jumping with the setter when the setter is jump setting because they cannot attack the ball over the net from the back row. I recommend starting 2 arms length away from the middle blocker or slightly closer when the setter is back row for your starting base blocking position. If the setter is front row, you need to bunch in closer to the middle because the setter will be closer to the middle and you do not have to worry about a right front hitter if the setter happens to set the back row. I recommend starting right next to the middle blocker or only a few inches away because your priority for a front row setter, if they jump, they have a chance to attack and you need to stop that first before helping out with the middle attacker. So your first priority is to stop the setter to help out with the middle and then react to the D ball. If the front row setter does not jump set and sets from the standing position, then you don't have to worry about the setter attacking or sending the ball over on the second contact and just focus on helping block the middle or the D ball from the back row. There are 3 types of dumps that a setter will commonly use. The front dump, where they take their left hand and they push it downward toward the center of the court at an angle inward. The dump across their body. And then the dump behind with their right hand. The most common dump is the one that is with their left hand downward and angled toward the center of the court. And that's the one that you have to stop first as a left front blocker. The way you stop that dump is you position your body in front of the setter, and that's called fronting your setter. If you stay on the center, you will take away the dump that goes across, but you give away the hardest dump. The reason why you want to take away the front dump of the setter, because that's the fastest and most powerful type of attack that they have, and it will land in the center of the court where there are usually no defenders. Your goal as a left front blocker is to force the setter to dump across or to dump the ball behind them. And that brings the ball closer to the left back defender and it's not going to fall to the ground as fast because this is more difficult to execute and I'm not going to have much power. And the cross dump is not going to have as much power as the front one. So even if you don't block the setter, if you force the setter to choose a more difficult and slower dumping choice, you've done a good job of making it easier for your left back defender to be able to dig the setter's attack. Now we'll talk about body positioning for blocking a hitter. A common mistake that people make when they're blocking is that they think with their hands first before their feet. Being a successful blocker first starts with positioning your feet in the correct spot and then finishing with your hands. If I'm blocking a right side attacker who is right-handed, then I'm going to position my feet so where my shoulders are going to match the shoulders of the hitter. This allows me to take away the largest percentage of the court, which is aimed towards area 6, and the hitter will be forced to hit around me to the line or angle, but they shouldn't be able to hit toward the center of the court. If the right side hitter is left-handed, then you're going to position your body to where their left shoulder is in between your feet, which means you will be blocking their left hitting shoulder. Once you get your feet set up properly, make sure that you jump straight up and down as much as possible. Anytime you drift to the left when you're jumping, you risk getting tooled because you're carrying the momentum of the ball if they hit the ball into your block out of the court. Even if you don't block the ball, as long as you've taken away the right side hitter's most powerful attack and that the ball was redirected to a defender on your team, then you've done your job as a blocker. The last area I'll cover is what to do with your arms and your hands when you're in the air and your feet are positioned correctly. Once you jump in the air, it's very important that you penetrate the net as early as possible. If this is the net, I need to make sure that as my arms are going up, I'm going to reach over the net as far over and as early as possible in one motion. If I bring my arms up and then forward, this space in between the net and the block will cause a waterfall, or I risk the ball being hit in between here and the ball will fall down to the ground in between my body and the net. So this is what we call penetrating or sealing the net. As soon as my hands are near the height of the net, I'm going to reach over. Not as high as possible, as over as possible. The width between my hands should be slightly narrower than the width of the ball. The reason why is because if they challenge directly at the block, the ball should not be able to squeeze through. If my hands are too far apart, then I'm going to create a field goal for the ball to hit through. Whereas if I create just enough space, I can have a wider block without the ball squeezing in between my hands. My outside hand, which is my left hand as a left front blocker, should be turned upward slightly. The reason why you want to have your thumb point up is because now the palm is facing into the court. So if they try to hit my outside hand, then the ball will be directed back into the court. My right hand should be turned slightly so that my palm is facing area 6. So actually both hands should be facing area 6 when I'm blocking. So my thumb on my outside hand should be pointed up, and my palm on my right hand should be turned slightly inward. That prevents you from getting tooled, and it redirects the ball back into the court. Make sure that your hands are as firm and as large as possible, because every inch counts and you want to take up as much space as possible. If you happen to be faked out by the setter and that ends up making you late to the block and you can't get your feet there, what you can do is, as you're shuffling as quickly as you can to try to close the distance, right when they're about to jump, you can place your hands up to where you think they're going to spike the ball and turn your palms inward to the court. This technique is reserved for emergency situations where there might be no blocker up and you might have to just do an all or nothing move where you're reaching outward and trying to bring the ball back in. The reason why I don't recommend this technique very often, because anytime you reach away from the court, then you risk getting tooled because your momentum is going away from the court and you're creating a flat angle for the hitter to bounce the ball off your hands or your block and out of the court. In general, I recommend jumping straight up and reaching over and forward or slightly inward, and rarely reaching outward. Make sure that you leave your arms and your hands in the blocking position over the net as long as possible, because that will increase your chance of blocking the ball, because the longer my hands are over the net and in the air to block, the higher chance that the hitter has to hit into the block. One common mistake that blockers make is that as soon as they put their hands over the net to block, they bring it down quickly so the hitter only has a small amount of time to hit into the block. Even as I'm bringing my arms back as I'm going down on my block, I'm trying to keep my hands close to the net and my hands open so that I might be able to slow the ball down even as I'm falling to the ground. Thanks so much for watching this video. If you found this video helpful, make sure that you give it a thumbs up and share it with all of your volleyball friends who are looking to improve their blocking as an outside hitter. Don't forget to subscribe to this YouTube channel where I'll be releasing weekly volleyball tutorial videos just like this one. If you have any other suggestions regarding volleyball, athletic training, or fitness, make sure that you search through my YouTube channel before providing a video suggestion. Thanks again for watching this video, and I'll see you guys next time.